Okay, great. Shiva sir, can you check the YouTube now?
Yeah, I will check.
Praveen, you also when possible because
Shivats, நீங்களும் நல்லா இருக்கீங்க. பின்னாடி ஒரு நல்ல செட்டப் இருக்குது. வாட்டர் ஃபால்ஸ் எல்லாம் நீங்க வந்து ட்ரை பண்ணிருங்க, பேசி ட்ரை பண்ணிருங்க. நீங்க தான் எம்சின்னு சொன்னாங்க.
ஆமா ஆமா.
ரகோத், you escape.
இந்த வாட்டி விட்டுருங்க என்ன. எங்க தலைவர் இருக்கும்போது நாங்க அதான் கண்டுக்க மாட்டோம்.
It says live in 14 minutes YouTube.
Yeah, I'm just checking that. No.
Two of us waiting. I think probably Raveen and me, I suppose.
Just figuring out.
More waiting.
எல்லாம் பண்ணிடலாம். ராகேஷ் ஜி also has joined.
YouTubeல 4 பேர் waiting.
Oh, no, sir. I'm just checking. One second.
Can you hear me, Shiva?
Yeah.
Yes.
But are you able to see me also?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
You're more smarter here.
It's a backhanded compliment, but then you look more like a high-tech guy with a lot of headphones. Okay.
அது வேற நாய்ஸ் எல்லாம் வரக்கூடாதுன்னு.
Okay.
The moment you said it, Raghav, he switched off the video. Joshua.
Oh, it's actually going on the.
No, I can see him very well.
Yeah. He's got 2, I think. 2.
Main and standby, as we believe.
Yes. Please.
Mukund is joining. Yeah.
I'm asking Natarajan இந்த மாதிரி 2 போடலாமா?
Sorry.
இது மெஸ் ஃபுட் இல்லப்பா.
I'm actually sorry sir, I'm trying to get the live things out. Please kindly allow me some time.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
ஜோஷுவா இது மெஸ் ஃபுட் இல்ல, ஒண்ணுதான் at a time.
Exactly. Okay.
Air Marshal has also joined.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
I do see him. Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Air Marshal. Saranga has joined. Saranga, we'd like to see your face as well.
Shiva, what I'm doing is.
Hi, Mukundan.
Hi.
Yeah, Joshua.
In the sense, I'm having my computer laptop also on. I'm having my cell phone also on. Is that?
ஒண்ணு ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிடுங்க.
ஒண்ணு ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிடலாமா?
Otherwise it will be interfering. It will be interfering.
Yes, Srivastav sir. அப்ப நான் ஒண்ணு ஆஃப் பண்ணிடுறேன். Already.
Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. You're able to see me?
Yeah,
Yes, Saranga.
Hi.
Saranga, you're in corporate attire.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to be.
And unfortunately,
because
we are fortunate to see you in that attire, Saranga.
Hi, Raghav.
Hi.
I think we'll pull your leg when we meet you personally, I think.
Yes.
No, but he is supposed to give a lot of treats.
He means better you not name, so it's okay for me, Raghav. Shiva is here, Shiva is there.
Air Marshal is also
there.
joined.
Who?
Air Marshal Samir Burade is also joined.
I am not able to see him. I don't see him.
Yeah.
I'm not
I think his video switched off.
Okay.
He will probably switch it on later.
He is there. Yeah. There is one iPhone. Who is that iPhone?
That is Sridhar.
Oh, Sridhar.
Hi, Sridhar.
Busy day for Sridhar, I think.
Sridhar,
No, I'm still in the office. Actually, I have not put my video on.
Oh, okay.
This is the problem I have on Saturdays.
Sridhar, if you switch on the video, we can clearly see whether you're working or not in office.
That's why he's not switching on the video.
Yeah, if he's not switching on the video and still sitting in office, then there is something. I leave it to your imagination.
No,
But actually,
yeah.
people at conceptual levels, they just have to be physically present in the office. The others do the work. So it's not.
Rajaram has joined.
Oh, Rajaram, yeah, good, good.
Rajaram should be in a golfing attire today.
Yeah, but I mean, if Rajaram just has to come in, he makes his own style statement.
Yes,
sir, Shiva sir, what is happening is, Shiva sir?
Yeah.
The link is actually coming different now. When I do with the restream, I put that in the meeting chat. Meeting chat, I put a YouTube link.
Okay.
So I'll try. I'm trying to figure out to get that actually to the actual link that we get. Okay. But the chat link, whatever that I have sent, people can use that now.
Oh, okay.
So only if we reach 100 here in the Zoom, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you send this in, WhatsApp also? I don't know how to click from here because I want to connect to YouTube using a different device.
Yeah, I'm sending, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So how many of us have joined? You can see the count somewhere here in this screen. No?
Yes, sir. As of now, 11, sir.
11.
Yeah, the people will join from 5 onwards.
Okay, fine. Okay.
The initial 15 minutes is mainly for us to get to know each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and our guests for the evening.
Yeah.
Shiva sir, so AVM sir is now online. We could see his video. So I think it's set up now.
Good evening, AVM sir.
Good evening, AVM.
We are not able to see.
I think his voice is not.
Can you unmute? No, it's unmuted.
Yeah. Now we can see.
Him on screen?
Yeah, now we can see him. Right. Good evening, AVM.
Your voice is not audible.
Yeah, now, right. We can see.
We can put the spotlight on him and just check his,
He's already in a spotlight, sir. I think he's already in a spotlight. Yeah.
Can you please check his audio? Sir, can you say something? We just want to check the audio.
No, we are not able to hear. We are not hearing.
Sir, I have published with the link, okay, updated to all the groups.
Yeah, I just.
Natarajan, can you please send a message to the Air Marshal and ask him to say a few words?
Or you can call him also.
He is talking. He is not audible.
Is he talking?
Yeah, he is talking. Not audible.
No.
He said few words.
Sir.
So can you say a few words?
No, we are not able to. No.
Sir, you are probably, is he on mute?
You're probably on mute, sir. Can you unmute?
Sir, we can't hear you. Signal looks better now. Can you please start now, sir? Can you please try now?
No.
Probably.
Can we see, Natan, can we see whether he is muted or no?
No, sir, he's an unmute only actually.
Oh, okay.
Both we can see him now on the video. Is there?
Can he log out and come back?
I think we have to request sir to do that. Sir, if you don't mind, please can you join again, sir?
Log out and please join again.
Sir, if you don't mind, please can you join again, sir?
Yeah, I think he is able to hear us. Raghunath, you are in Bangalore or where, Raghunath, now?
Coimbatore.
Coimbatore. Okay, good.
Raghunath sir, how are you? Sorry.
Oh, sir,
live stream,
vanakkam.
everything is okay now.
நீங்க ரொம்ப பிஸியா இருந்தீங்க அதனால தான்
No,
தொந்தரவு
I just
பண்ணல.
had to get the live stream up.
Natarajan, the live screen is on. Live screen is on.
Hi, Joshua. Hi, Ravin.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hi, Ravin.
Hello, sir.
Hi. So Joshua, you are muted. You can unmute. Yeah.
Purposely, maybe.
No, he's a quiet guy. He's a quiet guy.
I think Joshua should ask his wife how to unmute.
My wife has just given permission for me to go ahead and say all I want.
Yes, he got it correctly.
As long as Sridhar boss is giving me permission, I'm fully clear to say whatever I want. And I just want to say that Ravin is looking young and smart. Ravin.
Yeah, Ravin, yes.
Ravin is also on unmute.
Sir, you can't let me go. I'm just turning on the video to tell so that you will comment something.
Yeah.
There is a latency that is.
In the live, it is expected, sir.
Okay.
Under 3 minutes to go.
Can I switch off the?
Sorry, sir.
3 minutes to go.
Yes, some echo is coming. So I think...
No. That is not the echo. That is actually the live. Siva sir is playing the live. So you can reduce the mute volume there, sir.
Yeah, I've come out of YouTube. I just wanted to check. Can you please forward the new link again to the main group?
Already done, sir.
Done.
Kumar Paul, please forward the new link to your classmates.
Yes, please, sir.
86 batch.
Kumar Paul sir is there, right?
Kumar Paul?
He has not joined it.
He's not rejoined.
I think he has joined.
He
joined.
He is mute.
No, his name is not there.
Oh, he joined and quit me.
Now I'm getting my voice.
Yes.
Yeah, Kumar Paul.
Sound and clear.
Kumar Paul sir, please forward the new link. The latest message.
Some problem, man. Samir is facing some problem.
Yeah,
we are not able to hear him.
Kumar Paul sir, please forward the latest link that we sent to your batch.
Yeah, just now you sent. I've just sent it.
Thank you.
Kumar Paul, we were able to see him on video, but we are not able to hear him speak.
You're not able to hear?
No, he logged off. We had asked him to log off and log on again because his voice was not audible. After that he is yet to log back. Can you call him?
He's
coming.
Some
Sir,
link,
Sar has come.
Yeah. He's joined.
Can we quickly check his voice?
Yeah, he's no.
1 minute to go.
Rakesh Jain ji has
please,
also joined.
Srivatsa, we may need to start 5 minutes late because let us first fix the voice issue with the air marshal.
Okay.
So Dean has joined or who has joined?
Rakesh Jain ji has joined.
Yeah, yes, the Dean Alumni Affairs has joined.
He's joined already.
Yeah.
Samir sir, can you speak few words, sir? Samir sir.
No, he's not getting.
Still, he has got the problem.
Sir, can you try to speak without the thing? Probably the wire. It more seems to be the wire problem now. Hello, sir. Can you speak a few words, sir?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Now we are able to hear you.
Okay, fine. I think that's a headphone.
Samir sir, good evening. Can you see me? Samir sir, this is Joshua.
Hi, Joshua. How are you?
Fine, sir. Good evening, sir. You?
You can position your camera. Just.
Good evening, bosses.
Where are you nowadays?
Hi, Rakesh.
This position of camera is correct.
Vivek?
No, I'm seeing. Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah, this is fine. This is correct. Shall we go ahead or?
No, once again, sir. Rakesh sir has joined, right?
Yeah, Rakesh is joined.
Yeah, let us wait for
Okay.
just a few
I'm
minutes.
making Rakesh sir also co-host. Okay.
Yeah, let us wait for a few minutes. We'll start at 5:03 or 5:05.
Rakesh ji, welcome Rakesh ji.
Is everything okay?
Yes.
Welcome, Natarajan bhai. Natarajan, welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. Amir, your this thing video and both audio. Why video some problem?
No, no problem. Nothing, no problem.
Yeah,
It
it's
was-
not there. There is coming.
No,
I don't know why.
Sir is using a virtual background. So in a virtual background, what happens is typically the video will come and go, like as if he is there. Typically, when the
Yeah,
movement
that's
is
what
there,
his video.
So one request, apart from the people listed on the program, the others please be on mute.
You cannot centrally mute it, Shiva.
No, sir. Only they cannot do until we ask. All people whom have enabled as co-host can actually do.
Okay.
Natarajan.
Yes, sir.
Natarajan, I think you can mute all the members, all the participants except host and co-host from your side. It will be better.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, please mute everybody else.
Nata, can you make me a host?
You are actually.
Natarajan.
One second, sir.
Natarajan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I co-host?
Yes, you are. You are.
Okay.
Yeah, also make Rakesh, Yadav, Saranga, and Srivatswa as a host.
Yes, already. You can see in the participants, sir. There you will see that overall Rakesh Jain, sir.
Rakesh Jain is the co-host, but Rakesh Yadav, Sarangarajan, and Srivatsava, they have to be made co-hosts.
Okay.
Manigandan has joined, no? Mani? No.
Not yet, yeah.
Oh.
Whether I can give.
So can we start?
Yeah.
Srivatsava?
Savin, you are good to go, right?
Amir, you are ready? Swami, are you ready?
Sir,
Rakesh Jain, sir.
Sir, I'm going to mute everyone. The
Yeah, one second.
whoever is having co-host, they can unmute themselves.
Okay.
Yes. Shiva sir, you can. Samir sir, you can unmute yourself. Shiva sir and Saranga sir, you can. All of you can. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Srivatsava, I think we can start.
One sec, Natarajan, please unmute Jain Sahab also, Rakesh Jain.
Yeah. He has access.
Yeah.
There is some echo. There is some echo. Okay.
Hello.
We are going ahead. Let's start.
Yeah, just please check voice of the air
Hello.
marshal once again, and then we can start.
Hello.
Hi, Rakesh.
Can you hear me all? Good evening.
Yes, boss. Jain sir, have director sir joined?
You can all hear me.
I don't think so.
Samir sir, can you please just say a word? Hello, sir. We want to check your voice.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay, let us start.
Good evening, all. I welcome Mr. Sarangarajan, President MNIT JAA Tamil Nadu and Puducherry chapter, to introduce Know Your Alumni session.
Thank you, Shiva sir. Good evening, everyone. You're able to hear me, right? So welcome you all for this KYA session, which is Tamil Nadu Puducherry chapter has started it about 2 years back. And if I'm correct, probably this is the 5th KYA session, and very happy that we have a very distinguished gathering of the people, including our Air Vice Marshal Sami Bode, as well as our Dean Rakesh Jain sir, and our General Secretary Rakesh, and all my colleagues in the Tamil Nadu Puducherry Advisory Committee. So it's wonderful meeting all of you. And this KYA is one of the important sessions where it gives a feeling of sharing our time with the achievers of our alumni, with their experience, and get to know personally, get to hear from them personally. And it is kind of a big motivation for all of us. And also we are proud that one of our alumni has achieved such great heights and contributed in various fields. But in today's case is very, very special because Air Vice Marshal has contributed a lot to our Indian country as a country, and also for our college. So I welcome you again, Air Vice Marshal, and looking forward to hear from you. Thank you very much, and back to Shivatsava.
I now call upon Natarajan to introduce Air Vice Marshal to the group.
No, sir. Hello. It's a great pleasure and privilege for me to introduce sir today. Good evening, everyone. So as you can see here, our Air Vice Marshal Samir Borde sir is was commissioned in the aeronautical engineering mechanical stream of IAF on 13th March 1987. Sir is a graduate in mechanical engineering from our MREC Jaipur and a postgraduate in aerospace structures from IIT Mumbai. He has held important portfolios as engineering officer in frontline fighter squadrons, joint director of maintenance inspections, commanding officer of Airman Technical Training Institute, director of MiG-29 Weapon Cell at the Air HQ, chief engineering officer of a fighter base and the air office commanding of a fighter base repair depot. He was amongst the first batch of IAF engineers trained in Russia for all of MiG-29 and played a leading role in establishing the facilities in India. Under his leadership, the MiG-29 upgrade and the first Su-30 overhaul was undertaken by IAF. During Operation Parakram, post-Balakot strikes, post-Galwan, as well as other Air Force exercises, SAR ensured maximum aircraft available for operations. He is a specialist on composite materials and has been involved in various life extension projects and studies in IAF. He has also taken active roles towards indigenization and the interaction with academia and industry. Prior to his retirement, he functioned as a Deputy Senior Maintenance Staff Officer at HQ Maintenance Command. He is an alumnus of Defense Services Staff College, Army War College, and National Defense College. SAR has represented IAF at Russia, France, Kazakhstan, Japan, China, and Vietnam. His interests are defense modernization, geopolitics and strategy, self-reliance, aircraft MRO industry, QA, leadership, motivation, and capacity building. SAR has been commended by the Chief of Air Staff in '94 and awarded the Vishishtacheva Medal in 2014. As far as the contribution to the nation, SAR's entire life has been that 35 years of dedicating for India's security, building the defense capability for India, so maintaining the MiG-29 fighter fleet and life extension studies, improving self-reliance through indigenization efforts for entire inventory of IAF, development of the first of its kind project to launch air to missile surface to air. Some other confidential projects are under progress. So skill development of apprentices, support to Indian defense industry by helping them to build a capability in MRO and other areas, interaction with DRDO, and holding of academic institutions such as MNIT Jaipur and IIT. And a very proud thing is that you can see that SAR recently entered that IAF fighter copter is placed in our college also. As we always do in our Puducherry chapter, I welcome SAR with a small poem in Tamil. So Samudaya Nalame வாழ்வின் லட்சியம் என்று மீமிசைதனிலே 35 வருடம் வானூர்தி சேவை புரிந்து நமது அன்னை நாட்டிற்கு சேவை செய்த எங்கள் அன்பு ஐயா உம்மை இன்று வரவேற்று உரையாற்ற வாய்ப்பளித்தமைக்கு நன்றி. வாழ்க பாரதம். ஜெய் ஹிந்த். What does it mean is in the last 35 years, SAR has completely been there to serve the country and it is a privilege for us to welcome. So with that, I hand over back to Shivatsa sir. Welcome once again, sir. Thank you.
Now I invite Dean Alumni Affairs to say a few words.
I welcome all alumni of MNIT in this event. It's a great pleasure to be here to speak before you, and particularly about Samir's contribution to the nation building. He is also my batchmate, so we studied together. So it's great that I I welcome and introduce and say a few things about the Samir also. Particularly, although I know that Samir has done a lot to the nation when he was in Air Force, but I'm more concerned and more proud, I can say proudly, that he has contributed to the Institute a lot. Very important alumni for MNIT, as not only he was instrumental in giving Mi-8 frame helicopter to MNIT, which has been installed, and shortly we are going to inaugurate the ceremony. But also he has, because of his effort, we signed an MOU with Indian Air Force. Only 2 institutes in the country had signed MOU with the educational institute. One is IIT Delhi, another is MNIT Jaipur. And not only the signing of MOU, but also he, because of his effort, large number of projects has been given to MNIT. So great effort from Samir to the institute. So he is giving back to the institute. So he is a great alumni for the institute. And I am proudly can say, Samir, thank you very much for your effort, not only to the nation, but to the institute. And we want to hear your own story in this session. It's a great initiative. Thank you very much, Rasarang Rajan Saab, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Now I invite General Secretary Rakesh Yadav to say a few words, please.
Hello, respected bosses and dear friends. It's a very happy moment for all of us that our TN Puducherry chapter started this new series and it is flourishing now. Today we have our guest, respected Air Vice Marshal Samir Borade boss. Next month also they have planned one more. So I welcome respected Samir Borade boss and all other participants on behalf of Alumni Association. And I don't want to take much time. I request the organizers to proceed further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rakesh ji. Now I invite Rajaram, who remembers Air Vice Marshal in his own way. Please, Rajaram. Rajaram, you are on mute. You are on mute, Rajaram. We are not able to hear you. Rajaram, you are on mute. Yes.
Sir, you can try speaking now, Rajaram sir.
No, we are unable to hear you.
Are you by any chance using any adapters, connectors? If anything, just remove that and you can speak. Oh, yes, sir.
No.
No.
Looks like there is some.
Yeah, some problem.
So can you
come back to him.
Can you rejoin, sir? If you don't mind.
Rajanam, we are not able to hear you.
Natarajan, we will move over to the
next one. We will.
And we will come back to Rajaram later on.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, Siva.
Now I am handing over the Know Your Alumni session with our Vice Marshal to be anchored by Ravin and Natarajan. Ravin and Natarajan, please take over.
Thank you so much, sir. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sir, first of all, again, a warm welcome. Good evening on behalf of the TN Tamil Nadu and Puducherry chapter. It's a pleasure to host you for our KYA series today. Thank you so much, So great to hear about your contributions both to the society and to the college. I think during the next 40-50 minutes, we'll try to learn a little bit more about your journey so far and see what inspirations we can take from there. So before we get into the stream of questions, it would be pleasure maybe to talk about where did this passion for flying start, right? So I listened to one of your podcasts and you mentioned that the interest of flying started very from the school onwards. So if you can share about a little bit about your the interest of flying and for the aircrafts and the reason behind all that would be pleasure to understand.
Yeah, first of all, thank you all from Tamil Nadu and Puducherry chapter plus MNIT members, the dean for welcoming here and saying a lot of words about me. I don't think I'm that big a man. Okay. Only thing is, it was my passion. Aircraft were my passion right from beginning and my childhood. And it started somewhere in class 1 when I was watching, standing on the terrace, and I saw paratroopers dropping from the aircraft. And that sight actually caught my imagination then. Next day, incidentally, my grandfather happened to come to our place and he asked me, "What are you going to be?" So my grandfather was a retired lieutenant colonel, of course, not in the Indian Army, but those days, Holkar State Army of Indore. So I told him I'm going to join Air Force. So he was surprised, class 1 boy telling him that, he's going to be in Air Force, whereas there was no one in the family from the Air Force. And probably that thing was always in my mind. In my school days also, I used to make, because we were staying away from the city, not much to do at home, not many friends. So, whatever items I used to get, I used to make some small aeroplanes out of wooden parts or, something, then joined the air modeling club, was part of NCC initially, the Army NCC in the school days, because we didn't have Air Wing NCC. And by the time I think I was coming to for 11th class, I'd made up my mind, appeared for NDA, but then my principal at that time discouraged me, and I didn't, clear NDA. I was heading towards engineering, but something happened. I missed my engineering seat also. So it was probably luck that I missed my engineering seat for a year, and I joined a science college where we had Air Wing NCC. So I joined the Air Wing NCC. I got selected for gliding, and when I was in the camp, so that is the time I actually got a telegram from MREC to join engineering. So probably it was Providence leading me towards both Air Force and engineering. Okay. And I think both were my equal interests. I was trying to become a pilot when I was in the science college, but then engineering pulled me into engineering back. I still wanted to go for NDA, but my mother said, "You joined engineering. If you want to join Air Force, then you better join as an engineer." So I said, "Fine." And those days our course was 5 years. Fourth year, I think I went for my SSB without telling the parents. I mean, those days, obviously, there was not much of communication with the parents when you're in the hostel. So I saw the paper ad, went to Banaras, appeared for the SSB, got selected in the first shot. I think from my batch, I was the only one. I was the first one to get a job or rather, and some sort of fixed appointment. And after 5th year, our sessions were getting delayed. So I missed the course for which I was selected. So I requested the Air Force that if they can, permit me to retain this selection and take me whenever I, do my graduation. So they accepted that. So I joined the next course. That's why I joined about 6 months late in March 1987. So that's how it started.
Excellent, sir. And I think you also mentioned that you are still keeping those, the handcraft items that you have made still, right? As a remembrance.
Not the items are, they were lost in my ancestral house. But yes, okay. I have retained the paper clippings, whatever I used to get on Air Force, I used to keep those cuttings.
Right.
So I must be in class 6th or 7th. I've got cuttings from 1970 onwards.
Right.
So they are still with me.
Right. Right.
So I intend to mount them someplace and put them in my new house.
Right. Exactly.
Wherever I find some place.
So taking a step back, sir, how important was the MNIT journey in terms of shaping you as an engineer? I think you also mentioned about the importance of learning thermodynamics and helping it for you to understand your aircrafts better. Maybe if you could share some understanding and highlight about how did MNIT shape you your roles?
I've got head of department mechanical Rakesh Jain, my batchmate, sitting here, so I don't want to open up much in front of him, that I didn't remember much of my mechanical engineering. But jokes apart, see, one is you all would have realized studying in a NIT makes you different from others, rather being in your own state, because you come out from your home state, you come out from your own language barriers, you come out from your own comfort zones, and you land up into a very big environment of a college where there are hostelers from all over the country. And of course we had those days students from abroad also. I don't know whether it still continues or no. So it's like studying in a multinational environment of those days, and that builds up your personality in a very big way. You lose your inhibitions of talking to people from other states, of other languages. You learn the culture or some sort of language, this thing from the others. You know how others react to you, because every state is different, every language is different, people from different backgrounds have different sentiments, different way of behavior. So I think inadvertently you start learning those things. That is most important, I would say, in your personality development, which unknowingly you get prepared for it. So that is one. Second is, as far as the professional front is concerned, all those studies which we did for our basic engineering. Actually, I did my those internships in 3 different modes of travel. First was Premier Automobiles, that was road travel, and then I did my training in Central Railways also. And I think Air Force was another mode of travel which I landed up. No, so that is also something which uh, engineering is not only related to fixed subjects, but probably then you learn into intricacies of all these machines. So it prepares you mentally very well as an engineer. Another aspect which I always remembered in my Air Force career, I always used to imagine myself in the workshop during the college days, because there were many opportunities in Air Force where you have to think differently. You have to think, in different ways to how to overcome a problem. Many times you will have a technical problem in front of you, and you straight away get back into your college days and start imagining yourself in the workshop. Yes, if you can you do this? Can you do that? Can you build this? And incidentally, I happen to command a training institute which is called Workshop Training Institute in Tambram in Chennai. So there, I was so excited when I landed up as a commanding officer of that unit, after seeing the lathe machines and welding plants and all those things. So I asked my officers, how many times do you do it yourself? So I was surprised that they were not doing it. I said, come on, as mechanical engineers, this is the only chance where you have to work with your own hands once again after you leave the college. So I had programmed myself with the instructors and told them that you will call me once in a week and let me operate the lathe machine. So just nothing else but to get back to your own passion or your own profession of engineering. That's very important. I think that's what I could say about it. And of course, during indigenization process, a lot of things where you have to do the re-engineering. Your basics are very strong to imagine and get these things done.
Yeah, that's it. Sir, after your training, your first preference was a helicopter. You wanted to get into a helicopter part, right? Or how did this? How did you end up with MiG 29? I think you preferred to get into helicopter maintenance.
Yeah, actually, what happened? It's our 1.5 years of training at Bangalore. And those days, of course, I used to meet some of my friends. I think Raj Gopalan is here today. Raj, once or twice we met while being in Bangalore. And Subrato Pal used to land up. Then my classmate Sanjay Chandra used to land up at Air Force Technical College, Jalali. So it was a it's a 3-term training, 6 months each. So in first term, you're learning aerodynamics and aero engines and aircraft structures. These are the major subjects apart from your other, smaller subjects of aviation. So I had joined little late. I was the last to join Air Force also from our college because of the late results. I had to actually rush at the last moment. The day I got my results and same day I had to inform Air Force. Air Force sent me a telegram and I didn't have time, just one day. And I took a bus from Indore to Mumbai and from Mumbai to Bangalore. I traveled 36 hours by bus to join Air Force. And I was late to join. So by that time, the course had started, almost 1 month had passed. So I was actually struggling to learn things. But slowly I caught up. And aerodynamics is one subject which actually you have not learned during your engineering. And it's more of an imagination. You can't see things happening. You have to imagine things happening, that how aircraft flies, how does he, how does winds affect, how does the lift happen. For a fixed wing, the aerodynamics is different. And for helicopters, the aerodynamics is different. So when I started learning it, and then I realized helicopter aerodynamics is actually much more difficult and very complex and very interesting. And it started, maybe I started loving helicopters from that angle. And also another charm was that whenever you get into helicopter stream, you'll get chances to go here and there, land up at different places, So that's why I applied for helicopters. But then in my final term, with my ranking which was there in our college at that time, so I was called by the instructor who used to love me a lot, and he had a lot of expectations from me. And when he saw my choice as helicopter, he was actually disappointed. So he told me that, why have you asked for this? I said, sir, I love helicopter. He said, no, you go and bloody tear this form and apply for fighters. And because in Air Force it's more fighters. Okay, that's how it is. Primacy is of fighters. So I applied for fighters. So my ranking was number 4 in our course. The first 2 went to Mirage 2000 aircraft, which were very new at that time. So directly from the training institute, these 2 officers, for the first time, they went to Mirages. And the other 2, that is 3rd and 4th, me and another of my course mate, we went to MiG-29. So we were the first officers directly from the training institutes, joining these frontline fighter squadrons those days. Apart from us, everybody was very senior in that environment. We were the freshers, the junior most technical officers to join these squadrons. So in 1987-88, I landed up there. The aircraft had just come. They were just about 6 months old. So I think I spent my entire life with this aircraft. So a lot of my seniors used to tell me that you are born and brought up with this aircraft.
I think your entire experience has been with MiG 29.
Yeah. That was the latest those days.
Yeah. And I think maybe, sir, if you could share some, and I mean, for laymen like us, the importance of MiG 29, what's been our experience, and you've taken a lot of effort in, indigenization of all this parts and everything in the maintenance activity and making it operational ready. So I think for us, if you could explain some of these, it will be helpful for us to get a background. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, in a common man or, in the civil side, they get confused with MiG, and with a lot of crashes. So everybody says MiG-21 is a coffin and all that thing. So I just wanted to clarify, MiG is what? MiG is what? MiG, if you see MiG, my I is always small. No? It's MiG. So it is named after the designers Mikoyan Gurevich. They were the Russian designers who founded this company. And after their first 2 syllables of their names, this company name was made, MiG. So they started with I don't know which was the first of the mix series, but we had MiG-21s initially. That were our MiG-21s were inducted somewhere in the 1960s, middle of 1960s, and then MiG-21s were manufactured by HL in India as licensed production. Then we got MiG-23s. So MiG-21 was a supersonic aircraft, supersonic single-engine fighter aircraft. In fact, the squadron which I joined, the number 28 squadron, which was my first squadron, is called First Supersonics. So that was the first squadron to have received the MiG-21s, which were the first supersonic aircraft of Indian Air Force. Okay, and that squadron is celebrating its Diamond Jubilee next week, and I'm planning to go there in Punjab, where it is located right now. So the first supersonics, anyway, now I had digressed a bit. MiG-21s were the supersonic aircraft those days, single engine. Then we had MiG-23. MiG-23 was a swing wing aircraft. Swing wing means the wing can turn its angle. During takeoff, the wings can have fully swept forward wings, where the area is increased, the wing area is increased. And during combat or during dives, the wings can be swept back. A very unique design. No, nowhere in the world other than one aircraft in US which was made like that. MiG-23 was something like that. Okay, and then we had MiG-27s. They were similar design of what MiG-23 used to be, similar swing wing, but they were for ground attack. Ground attack means they get into the enemy territory and they can bomb the targets and come back. MiG-23 was a double role. It could do a air defense role as well as a ground attack role. In a fighter, basically these are the two categories: ground attack and air defense. So air defense aircraft is something which defends your airspace and tries to prevent an enemy aircraft from coming inside. Whereas a ground attack aircraft will enter into enemy airspace or and get into and do the targeting. So these are the two types of fighters. Otherwise, we have strategic bombers which do deep penetration. They will enter long distances into the enemy territory, and which right now we do not have any of such bombers. So I covered up to MiG-27, and then it came MiG-29. Now MiG-29 was a very different design, not only design but also the technology as compared to these other MiG series of aircraft which we had, MiG-21s, 23 or 27s. These aeroplanes were mostly mechanical in everything. In MiG-29, first design difference was it has a twin engine aircraft, twin fin aircraft, a lot of avionics in it. Okay, which was much different from the other variants of MiGs. A lot of computerization in this. Even the engine was computer controlled. So for us who were directly freshers from Air Force Technical College, it was not much of a difference to understand, because we didn't know what was a system in the earlier aircraft, except that we studied MiG-21 in our basic trainings. So we were actually learning, but for everyone in the squadron, whether it was technician or engineer, it was a challenge to understand the system and operate this. Not only the engineers and technicians, but also the pilots. So it was a very complex machine in terms of technology. Operations wise, much easier. Even maintenance wise, it was much easier. But the technology was very much different, whether it is radar or the optoelectronics in this, and various warning systems which were there in the aircraft. Okay, a lot of differences. So that's how this aircraft has been different. And comparatively, if you see the other aircraft, Western aircraft we had was Mirage 2000, which was of a similar class of MiG-29, but it's from the French, it's a French origin aircraft. So MiG-29 those days was called a ASF, that's Air Superiority Fighter. So whether it is F-16 or Mirage 2000 or MiG-29, they are similar class and of the similar potential, I would say. Okay, but from different origins, US, French, and Russia. And I must tell you that, which I've heard from many of the pilots, that post Balakot when F-16s were, or even during Kargil times, if a MiG-29 was flying close to the border, and if it locked on to a F-16 which was on the other side, the F-16 immediately turned back. Locked on means that if the radar locks on means you're actually caged by, and then you can't do much. If the missile is fired, you will get shot down. So that used to be the terror of MiG-29s. Okay. And you asked me some other question also technical. Was it related to indigenation?
Yeah, I mean, generally about, I think you've done a lot of work in terms of indigenization, right? I mean, I think in terms of making sure that we are self-reliant on the repairs and the maintenance.
I think that passion also built up because of the the work which was going on. I joined the squadron in 1988. MiG-29s were new. Anything happened on the aircraft, we had nobody to look back to, in terms of expert advice or an expert support system. Like we have something like a base repair depot in Indian Air Force. There are various base repair depots for each type of aircraft or each type of weapon system. But for MiG-29, we didn't have anything those days. So some of our seniors had made some labs and tried to, open up the computers, try to repair the circuitry. That's how we used to do. And for everything, we had to fend for ourselves. Okay. Repairing structural parts. I have done so much of work because today people may say it was authorized, unauthorized. I really don't know. But I have done a lot of hammering on this aircraft in term, I'm talking a little loosely, but some of the major damages I have tried to do certain repairs those days because nothing else was known. Your publication talks to a limit. Okay. So composite repair of a aircraft I did much before I did my MTech in composites. I didn't know that actually I'm doing a composite repair. But I applied my mind. I used to carry my briefcase, which had a lot of, rivets, nut bolts, and I just thought as an engineer I must carry this like a doctor. Okay. And sometimes I had got to use them, including araldite, glues. I used to carry glass cloth also with me. So probably that thing always remained in my mind. And fortunately, after a few years, I went to Russia for the overall training. It was planned that the MiG-29 overall will be undertaken in India. It means now BRD was taking over the support system for this aircraft, which happened to be at Nasik. So I was posted to Adampur when I went to Russia, and when we returned back, we joined Nasik. 11 BRDs, 11 base repair depot at Nasik, which was designated overall agency by then. And incidentally, I became the first officer in charge of the first overall aircraft. Okay. And that aircraft was just left in the hangar with 6 of us, 6 officers and 28 airmen freshly returned from Russia with hardly any resources. So we started, putting pieces together, started the work together. And the Russian support system or spare supply. In fact, I brought certain spares as, I smuggled them out from Russia when I was doing my course there. Imagining that certain of these spares may be required. So I brought them in my bag. And when the initial spares came from Russia, so I used to be a little apprehensive that if we use them up, we'll not have backup later on. So I started taking help of HL, which was next door. And not only HL, but private vendors to see that if we can, if we have got 2 sealing rings extra, then rather than using them up, I redesigned those sealing rings, got them manufactured in quantity 50 or something, so that that for next 4 or 5 years there's no problem. So that's how it started, and that I started learning also the design system of these spares, how that code works. Okay, nothing very great about it, but with HL being there, I could decipher those codes, that if this part number means what should be the length of nut a bolt, or diameter of the bolt, or sealing ring diameter. So those things, once you decipher, then re-engineering is very, very easy. Third part is, of course, the material, which has to be same or similar. So that's how it started. And 96, we started this work. Gradually, the system got into place. Though I was directly never into indigenization, I was actually I was into the production side. But then as a production engineer, everybody who's into production knows the criticality of spare support. So this part was being done simultaneously, and gradually, stabilized. And over the years, a lot of things got stabilized, including indigenization of, the test equipment. A lot of things I could not do at that time. So, gradually when I rose in my ranks, so those things were still in my mind. And whenever I got the opportunity, I used to, again focus on that, why this has not been done. So MiG-21 9 was a starting baby, and that example, I could tell it to others in Indian Air Force. Yes, if you should also do this. I mean, the other weapon systems also. Fortunately, I was not only confined to MiG-29s at later stage. As group captain onwards, I used to inspect a lot of units. So I was inspecting almost every aircraft, every system, and I could see where all the maintenance problems of Indian Air Force lie. Okay, so and when later on I got that opportunity to deliver it for the other weapon systems also, I started applying it there as well. So it is just probably, I think, the road leads you to the destination.
Right. So thank you so much
I'm
for
talking too much.
So thank you so much for explaining your journey and your experiences, and we could see the passion, the way you answered some of our questions. I'm now asking my colleagues and bosses to see if I think a lot of us have questions, so I want to be fair and see if can ask the audience to also ask a few questions to user. Maybe Nata or somebody. Yeah,
I'm Manikandan here. Sir, I would like to know about the total technical life of your fighter aircrafts in terms of both calendar years and flying hours.
In fact, I had shared one YouTube link. I think Ravin has heard that probably today. So you can share that as well. I don't know whether you can put it on this forum or how you circulate it. So I have an interview on YouTube where I'd explained this, but I'll explain it once again.
Okay.
Fighter aircraft. This is mostly of the Russian, philosophy or technology I'm talking about.
Okay.
Westerns have little different concept. So Russian fighter will approximately have 2000 to 2500 hours of life. And in terms of calendar, it will be around 20 to 25 years. Okay. So they define life in two ways. One is calendar and one is in hours, operating hours. So both go hand in hand. If anything is due first, you have to undertake the aircraft for overall. That is the total I'm talking of the total lives. Then there is something called TBO life, that is to be overall life. So if a aircraft has a total technical life of 2500 hours, the TBO life could be first 800 hours, then again 800 hours. Okay. So every 800 hours, that aircraft will get inducted for overall refurbished, and again it flies for another 800, and till the time it reaches its total technical life. Same goes with calendar also. Now there is a mismatch which happens because you're not able to consume those many hours in those many calendar years. Say if the first calendar life is 9 years, you may not be able to complete 800 hours in 9 years. So that's where we got into that life extension, which you would have heard, that if we have not completed 9 years, then why can't we extend this 9 years to 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, or 13 years, where you can complete this 800 hours. Okay, because operating hours are more crucial and important than calendar, because calendar life extension is mostly based on your deterioration due to corrosion or environmental issues. Again, scientific study is done, and in consultation with the DRDO, where they approve that. There's a Regional Center for Military Airworthiness, which is the approving authority. So together a team is formed where they undertake this study, and this extension is undertaken.
Sir, when we look at MiG-21, I have one more question because I closely involved this aircraft.
I hope I was able to clarify this part.
Okay. No, the thing is, where you started the speech, you were mentioning that in the year somewhere in 1960, we inducted MiG-21, what you call Bison or fighter in Indian Air Force. But even 2010, I think still it is flying now more than 50 hours. That is the reason And
more
sometimes
than
we
what
had
you
some
thought.
accidents also.
Don't link with accident. First, what did you say? How many hours?
You said even 2008, 9 and all, we are seeing MiG-21 aircrafts are falling. But we were told that it was inducted in the year way back in 1960, which
See,
means is the aircraft completed 30 years, 40 years.
Just listen to me. I have understood your question and I have understood your confusion also. So I'll clarify everything. Okay. First thing is, the aircraft maybe of the first batch might have been inducted in 1960s. They are not flying now. Whenever they completed their life, they were phased out. Okay. MiG-21 is a class of aircraft. Say you compare with your Ambassador car. If Ambassador was designed in 1950s and 1960s and you still find it on the road, does it mean that it has crossed those 15 years of life or the RTO registration? No. That Ambassador might have been manufactured much later. It's only the design which is of those years. Okay. Similarly, in MiG-21, there were different types of aircraft. I didn't, complicate my explanation from that perspective because there were different types of aircraft in MiG-21s also. Type 77, type 65, type 75. So these types evolved over the years later on and had little design differences. Okay. And the last of the types was type 75, which got upgraded in earlier in Russia and later in India by HAL with modern avionics systems and with structural strengthening as well. Okay. They were termed as Bison. They are called MiG-21 Bison. So today what is left is MiG-21 Bison, which has got adequate hours and calendar life. So they all, they all fly within the regulated operating, hours and calendar life which has been defined. I hope I'm clear.
Thank you, sir. Yes, you cleared my doubts, sir.
Okay. Only thing is, why does it fall? That's a very natural question, I must say. See, it's a single engine aircraft. It doesn't have much of redundancy. If you have an engine failure, unless if you recover the aircraft, you're lucky. If you're not able to, then of course it will crash. So it's a very old design. We have a Mirage 2000 also, which is a single engine. But then the design is much different, much modern, where such failures do not happen. Okay. So it's a design era issue.
I have a question.
Before we take additional questions, I will request Rajaram sir to share a few words.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, good evening. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, clearly.
Good to see you, Samir. The last time we met, I think we went on a spiritual tour. I bought you. We had lunch at ISKCON Ujjain, I think. That's about. Next time we'll go to a very nice. So good to see Samir. Good to see all of you guys. But let me start with Samir. I think his academic brilliance has been understated because it's been very subtle. He was with us in college, part of our group, and subsequently what all he's gone to do is really amazing. So that's been the hallmark of Samir, very unassuming, very subtle and in the background, but then he had a lot of conviction about what he was doing. And it's been a pleasure to know him. So we spend a lot of time. The best thing about Samir is I think he's maintained the relationship with the people. So that's why if you look at his Facebook or you look at what all he posts, you see that he has fantastic relationship with his classmates in school, with the classmates in college, and I can bet that he has a very good relationship with the colleagues who worked in the Air Force and with the entire people he's worked. I think this has been one hallmark of him. When we quit in 80s, when we finished engineering in 86, I think the next time I met him was in 95, maybe when he was flying to Russia. So it was very easy for me to connect, because to be honest, over a period of time when we finish engineering and we are all professionally conditioned, we just don't want to hurt the other guy. We don't know what they think of us. We don't know what we think of them. So, but Samir was so easy to connect. I mean, he was going to Russia. I think we met and then I think we went to the airport together. So it was so easy to connect overnight after many years, after nearly 10 years. So it was wonderful. Then we met again in the 2011 in the Silver Jubilee. It was again easy. And then we met after 11 years after that last year. So we quickly connected, and I had to pull them on to ISKCON. So it was very easy. One of the few guys, maybe very few guys where you could just take on from where you left. You don't have to think what he's going to think of you and what. I mean, it was just so easy to get along with him. In fact, my other colleagues also got very well with him. So that's been hallmark of Samir. Simple, unassuming, and obviously a brilliant academician from what we can see. I mean, we didn't know this in college, but subsequently he's proved to us. And one instance I can maybe share your academic brilliance is we passed out in 86. And then, you know, I was close to these guys in Indore, Samir, Shashank, Uday. So I thought, let's give a shot at Indore MBA. So I was in a good mood to freak out with friends. None of us studied. I hope so. Samir also didn't do. 2-3 days I was in Indore. We went roaming all over the streets on bikes, and you know, we were a chappan dukan every day evening, freaking out, nothing. I mean, the MBA interest was just time pass for us. So it was more for meet with friends. But with the results coming out subsequently, all of us had flunked except Samir. So maybe that's an indication of your academic brilliance. You were roaming with us, but then you passed out and we lost out. And that speaks for your academic excellence. Relationship, I think there was never a need to restart with you. And yeah, you've been always very non-fussy and very decisive, but I think very convicted in what you're doing. We're very sure of what you're doing. We used to play a lot of tennis together in college. And I think you used to be a hockey goalie, if I'm right. Yeah, but nowadays I think you play a much aristocratic game. You're, you know, a golfer. So I'm learning. So someday I send you a photograph. Maybe we'll catch up one day. It's been brilliant to know you, Samir. One of the few friends where, you know, it really strikes me where you can just take off from where you left. So it's been nice. So we met last year. We stay nearby. So it's been a pleasure knowing you. And I mean, I wish you and Deepaji health, wealth, and happiness. Anytime, I told you, we are at a stone's distance. Call us. We are around. You're one of the stalwarts, along with Sanjay Arora, Subhash Gupta, Shivdas Meena, Hukum Meena, Mahesh Singh. You're one of the stalwarts. Your excellence, your friendship has made us all proud. The whole batch of 86 is very, very proud of you. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Samir, for being a great friend.
Thank you, Rajaram.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic note, sir. Rajaram, sir, it was very great to hear from you. You know, we really thank you for sharing your thoughts on, sir. I will go ahead with the questions now. We have a question from Mugundan, sir. He's asking, how is IAF strength in terms of aircraft compared to Chinese Air Force?
I think that's a very simple question to ask. You know, it must be there in the open media. Even I will not remember the number of aircraft. They are in thousands, we are in hundreds. Okay. But strength does not matter. Okay. What matters is the quality. What matters is the warriorship and how you apply yourself. Okay. Chinese may have the numbers. They have large numbers, but most of them were, antique era aircraft. Now, of course, they are coming up. They have invested a lot in terms of technology, and most of their technology, as you would have seen in the civil technology also, it's more of a copycat business. Okay. Same thing they did in military aviation also. When Russia broke up, they hired their scientists. They tried to redevelop something similar to Su-30 by themselves. But they have done it, this copycat business, they have done it wonderfully well. Okay. So they are evolving in terms of technology. As far as numbers are concerned, they are very high in numbers. They did not have a navy till now, till few years ago, but now they have aircraft carriers. Okay. But their experience is much less. Okay. Indian Army or Indian Air Force is a battle-hardened, defense force, which we have fought decisive battles. I don't think Chinese have done that ever. So the results of the war will, emerge based on the warriorship capability, the battle-hardened forces, application of mind, application of technology, and of course the resources which we have. And the numbers, of course, we should not relate that because our economy is also much smaller than theirs. Okay, I'll stop at that.
Thank you, sir. That gives a lot of clarity. There is a question from Mr. Harsh Vachan Singh. Sir, how we can prioritize things and get a clear mindset?
How you can prioritize things and get a clear mindset? You've got a very interesting question, which is actually one of my, probably hallmark of my character or the way I'm made. Okay. No, of course, I've never, boasted about it, but probably that is where I felt I was a little different from others. And it gradually evolved. Again, the way things come your way, you learn from that. That is how makes you a person or a personality or a person different from others. Otherwise, we are all born same. Actually, I was a very Rajaram has said a lot of things about me as an academician. Actually, I am a very poor academician. Okay. But I ended up doing all the courses of Indian Air Force. I never wanted to. Actually, I joined Air Force because I never wanted to study after engineering.
You are trying to be humble.
No, I'm not humble. I'm very realistic. But then thing is ki MTech was offered. I mean, Air Force offered officers to go for MTech. So I said, why not me give it a try? And when I was doing my MTech, you must ask my professor. I flunked in the first exam and we are having a very tough time. Anyway, that is the past. But what I was telling is that whatever comes your way, try to learn. And this I realized while I was commanding this Airman Training Institute at Tambaram. I was posted there from 2007 to 2009. So 2007 means I would have done about 18 years of service. I had just become a wing commander. And before that, I was in the Directorate of Maintenance Inspection. Why I'm telling you this, and before the Directorate of Maintenance Inspection, I had done my Defense Services Staff College. This is another one important career course for Defense Service Officers, which you do. So it's called Staff College, which is done at Ooty, a place called Wellington, near Ooty and Kunur. So in that course, actually, you learn staff work, and the way of teaching is such that you actually start inheriting such qualities of analyzing things. Okay. And they'll give you different exercises, that sort of thing. So that 1 year builds you into that. So after that, I was posted into Directorate of Maintenance Inspection. I was the junior most officer ever in that directorate. And our job was to every week go to a Air Force unit and inspect them, whether a training institute or a maintenance institute, at times certain flying bases also, and see whether they are following certain, the procedures as per policies and as per the publications and as per the rules. But as everywhere which will happen, you will find deviations. Okay. And when you discuss with them, so then they will come out that there are certain problems. They have their own problems. There are organizational problems which prohibit or prevent you from doing certain things in the correct way. And when I had landed up in this directorate, actually being the junior most officer, I was actually very upset that I am landed up in a very negative place, which only points fingers at others. So since I had landed up there, and maybe it was my courage, or the first day I made a resolution that I will now I've come here, so I will change this directorate into a positive place. When we go to a unit, people should not look at us with hatred, but people should look at us in some manner that here comes a team which is going to help us, which will find our problems also and which will help us. So I gradually started doing that. And whenever such problems, you're inspecting a unit for about a week or 3-4 days. So fourth day, actually, you're writing the report for them. And fifth day, you're doing a debrief for them that these are the problems. So on the fourth night, I had to write the report. And while writing the report, it used to be a very difficult issue to write the report, to come out with a solution. Pointing a problem is very easy. but to find a solution is very difficult. And I have that solution, I have to give it in a manner which is practical. So I thought, what is happening in my mind? I termed it as crystallization of mind. So after a lot of brainstorming, it used to, crystallize in my mind, okay, what should be the solution? So that was probably one way of, my way of looking things. Second was when I was commanding this institute at Tambram, I was a junior most commanding officer. And as it happens, it was a big airbase. So there are a lot of other people, a lot of, I will not say rivals, but competitors or, people trying to snatch your resources and that sort of thing. But I had decided that how I am going to command this unit and how after 2 years, this unit will be different than others. So it came to my mind that I will not get diverted by any distractions, whichever come my way. Because there are other people's job is to distract you. It will happen in a civilian world also. Okay, your rivals will try to distract you. So in my opinion, first thing is your mind should be very clear of what you want to do, what should be the solution, and don't get distracted. So I think all these three things will define your priorities very well and make a very clear mindset.
Superb, sir. Fantastic, sir. You really answered it well and also gave real life
I'm
examples.
glad that this question was asked because this was one of the most important things of management.
True, sir. Very true.
And I've never learned management professionally, though I cleared my exam with, when Rajaram could not clear.
Sir, one last question.
And imagine we are doing management now.
So one last question. Mr. Balakrishnan is asking, are you still connected with the Air Force as a consultant or anything else after your retirement? That's a question from Mr. Balakrishnan.
Only thing is, I have just retired about a year ago. So a few months ago, there was some nasty article written by one of the Indian e-papers on indigenization that Air Force is doing nothing. And then when I read that article, I was very upset. So I thought of, giving it a rebuttal. So I wrote down few pages, and then I didn't know whom to approach, because I don't know anybody in the publications or in the media. So somehow I could contact one of my army friends who is writing for some magazine, Chanakya Forum. So I sent him this article and he immediately got it published. This was 6 months ago, I think. And I brought out clearly what all Indian Air Force is doing, because these things are not known to common man. And let me also tell you that for this our Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliance and whatever a country is trying to do, there are a lot of forces which are trying to not let it happen, because obviously it's a lot of money. Okay, foreign countries definitely, but then there are people here also who would not like, because they get their commissions. Okay. So I wrote this article, then gradually started writing few articles I wrote for Chanakya Forum related to Air Force. So that's how indirectly I got connected with Air Force. I'm basically trying to write on behalf of Air Force into open media, which an Air Force officer cannot write. Second is because of my writing habits. I don't know if you're aware that I started writing poetry also a few years ago in Hindi and English and all that, and made one small booklet which I circulated to few of my friends, free of. It is not on any cost basis, but just for people to read. If anybody wants it, just WhatsApp to me, I'll send it across. So because of my writing abilities, this place where I'm staying, there are a lot of army veterans who have settled down in this place. So one of them, Lieutenant General, he called me one day and he asked me whether I would like to be part of a think tank. So I said, why not? So he said he will start it here. So we have recently formed a think tank at Mau. Mau is the place where I'm staying near Indore. It's in central India. And we've named it Mau Analysis and Research Society. So I am now vice president of that society. We are the founder members. And we have gradually got involved with Army War College, which is one of the training establishment for senior officers of Army here. Army plus Air Force and Navy. So last month we conducted a strategic gaming exercise for them. It is not, this part is, well, like my interest, you must have read about global issues and strategy and all that. So it was more on the strategic level, developing a national security policy was the exercise. So where I was doing the mentorship. So that is how indirectly I got involved. Army War College wanted some consultants on hire, so I applied for it because there's nothing much to do here otherwise. So if they
Great, sir.
select me,
Thank
I'll
you.
be involved with it.
Superb,
I
sir.
think
I will
Saragarajan wanted
hand
to
over
ask
to
something.
Srivatswa, sir.
Saragarajan wanted to ask.
Sure, sir.
Natarajan, one last question,
Sure,
if
sir.
time permits.
Sure, sir.
Air Vice Marshal Samir, now there is a lot of focus on developing the defense industry, like Modi ji openly told, we will be a partner, no more an importer. I mean, that gives a lot of opening for our defense sector in terms of manufacturing and other things. We can become a dominant player like in IT industry or automobile industry or textile. So is the talent sourcing also catching up? Because that needs a lot of talent for the defense sector to develop the industry in the world-class level. Or you are actively participating in some way of how to make it. I hope you are able to hear my...
Sorry. I got distracted because my dog just escaped out of the room.
No problem. No, I was just asking, there's a lot of thrust
to... I've heard your question.
Yeah, please.
I'll just cover that. If I missed out something, you can prompt me.
Yeah, sure.
The national defense industry. In fact, I had written my thesis on this when I was doing the National Defense College 5 years ago. And we are talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat now, which our present Prime Minister has given a push. But as I was narrating earlier, in 1996, we started this. Okay, so we had the capability then also. Only thing is that sort of technology or infrastructure or that sort of government push was not there. So the industry has been going for long, and gradually it will come into shape. Whether it is an aircraft or it is a military aircraft, there's nothing very big about it. Basically, technology is different. It could be different than an automobile, or only thing is somebody has to learn it. So related to that, you're talking of the, you mentioned a word of
like talent sourcing, no? Like when
sourcing,
the IT
talent sourcing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So towards this also, we started doing some work in Air Force. While I was commanding Air Force Station Nasik, we took on, as per the Skill India program, there's a provision to hire apprentices, or rather private sector is supposed to have certain percentage of apprentices. So we gave chance to, these boys from ITI to join us, undergo an apprenticeship training with us. And we paid them, and then they went out with some certificate. So now this talent source is available in India. And not only Nasik, but similarly other BRDs also were doing it. So probably by this time, at least thousands would have already been exposed to this military aviation by Indian Air Force.
Okay, that's a good
also,
news.
Since this program is being organized by Tamil Nadu and Puducherry chapter, let me also tell you that I was also involved with, the Tamil Nadu Defense Corridor, where we used to have direct interaction with them, and it is coming up quite well. Yeah. And we have designated one of our base repair depots at Coimbatore, that is 5 BRD. Joshua is still there with 5 BRD?
Yeah, I take that opportunity also to invite Joshua Boss to speak. With Joshua Boss speech, we can close the session.
Okay.
Joshua Boss,
Joshua, please unmute. Please unmute. Joshua, please unmute.
Sir, you have to unmute, sir. Joshua.
Joshua, please unmute.
Yeah. So let me, a very good evening to you, sir, Marshal Garaj. And I got a call from Seva Subramanian. He said around 10 days back that I should give the vote of thanks. The moment he mentioned your name, I was super thrilled, I just couldn't say yes. I was fully, I said, absolutely, yes, it's my pleasure to do that. So now let's make it interesting. The thing is, I first met him in college, probably, 83, 84. I must have met him in college. He was very tall and intimidating, everything else. And he used to play Rajaram. They used to play. They'll be the stylish and cool gang playing tennis. The rest of us played volleyball, football, simple games. There's upper class guys, tennis. Okay, that's okay, fine. They had their own gang and gang of cool guys. Okay. And when I joined Air Force, I was very happy that since I'm joining the Air Force, it will be a good, other things being equal, Air Force seemed more professional just because flying officer Brade had also joined it. That was interesting. And then one fine day, we joined. Many years later, I think in 97 or 98, I met him for the first time when he was a squadron leader. And then the first name, I said, I'm from Tamil Nadu, Kota. He first said, where is Rajaram? Okay, now this, to make it more interesting, and then he quietly said, how about Kumar Pal Jain? So these two names used to keep coming. Later on, we used to once in a while, since discussion used to be about college. And then, okay, many years later, in 2003 or 2004, we met. This was, by the time I think he had served around 15 years in Air Force, 15, 16 years, we had all become senior officers. And again, we talked about Rajaram and Seth. And of course, this time we included probably Sanjay or IPS, I'm not very sure. Okay. And something very interesting about 86 batch. I have a feeling 86 batch is slightly smarter than the other batches, I think if you don't mind Raghuvaman and Shiva Subramanian, please don't mind. We'll have to grant it to them, 86 batch has got a lot of achievers, and due to some reason, these guys outshine the rest of us. I mean, let's give it to them, let's not argue, right? Okay, let's give it to them. That's it. Now, coming back to, okay. And then Rajaram used nice words, hallmark and he underplays. Yes, he always underplays. When he casually mentioned about Defense Services Staff College, Defense Services Staff College is a highly intellectual examination, and they pick up officers between the ages of 35 and 40, meant for strategic studies. And if somebody does Defense Services Staff College in those days, it meant this guy had some kind of strategic capability. Other things being equal, they're picking up the cream of the lot at an earlier stage. So he quietly went through Staff College as though nothing happened. It was a breeze. And then much later, when he was, I think, a Commodore or something, he went to the National Defense College. Now, NDC is absolutely class. Cream de la cream. How are you? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to talk too much English with Shiva around. NDC is absolutely wonderful. We have officers from the entire world. They teach you strategic management, strategic defense policy. And if you're a graduate from NDC, you become employable the world over in a strategic capacity. Absolutely. Now, I was in 43 wing 2 years back. 1.5. That's when Air Marshal Burade, as the Deputy SMS of Maintenance Command, had come for an inspection. And then initially we met officially. But during the tea break, the first name again was Rajaram and Kumar Pal, etc., etc. And it's funny, now, initially, we spent 4 years in college together. And we have been in the Air Force for 30 years or 30 plus years. I'm surprised those 5 years of college dominate. If you're there for having tea and coffee for 1 hour, we are only talking about engineering college, REC Jaipur. How nice it is. Whereas we've been in the organization for 30 years, there are so many things we could have discussed about Indian Air Force. We did not do that. It's interesting, we spoke about only REC. And that is something, I think the bonds, what we forged in college, I think these things are probably there's something about MNIT which is indescribable. We'll leave it. I would like to say something else. Now, he said very casually, Marshal Paradi very casually said MTech. No, MTech also had an entrance. And usually it's 1 in 15 who goes to MTech in an IIT. He did this from IIT Bombay. And then he went to Staff College. And usually a guy who does MTech does not do Staff College because you probably require 2 kinds of brains. The same person doesn't do. He's one of those few guys who has done both and also done NDC. So let's take it to his personal side. Everyone, I have a lot of my course mates who have worked under him, a lot of my juniors who look up to him because MiG-29s, what a lot of people don't know is if you're an engineering officer in the first posting in a MiG-29 squadron, your day starts at 3 a.m. and ends at 11 p.m. And this can carry on for months and months. I have not worked in fighters. I have worked only on transport, just to give a perspective. So fighters, it's high speed, all your components, your mechanical components, aviation components, everything behaves very differently in the air everything can be serviceable on the ground. In the air, everything at high speed totally changes. So it's very challenging. And there is 1 or 2 engineering officers. And the kind of faith people had, the pilots used to say, if Samir sir has cleared it, they're willing to fly. Because of clearing a fighter aircraft for safe flying, there's something called aviation safety, which is drilled in the mind of every engineering officer. It is that kind of a sense in your brain. You become responsible for the pilot. You become responsible for human life. And when you realize that on your signature, on your go ahead, the aircraft is going to fly at the supersonic speed and come down, you kind of have to be that much, infinitely more careful. And he was one of those persons who would do it and make it seem like a breeze. A lot of my course-mates or batchmates have worked under him. They all look up to him. Other things apart, he is an absolute cool cat. Yes, I don't want to get into too much of how we advanced from rule making to, yeah, he became a senior officer, he got into decision making, etc., etc. I would just say in a few words that he is a leader of men. He is a man of very, very deep character. And in defense parlance, I think he did his duty with the utmost devotion and dedication consistently. And that on every assignment that was given to Samir sir, I think he went far beyond the call of duty. I would say, whichever unit he served, whichever formation he commanded, he has left the place in a much better shape than it was when he joined it. And he's been an inspiration and a motivation to a lot of other officers in the Air Force. And a lot of them, I'm sure, will like to be in touch and look up to him for guidance and inspiration. Now, if I'm supposed to say the last few, but I cannot summarize, but I would say that Air Marshal Parade is the kind of officer who can lead this country into battle. And he has made the nation much more stronger by his accomplishments. With this, I finish. And
fantastic, sir. Absolutely, Joshua sir. You gave a beautiful salute, sir. We are really proud of what you have done, and it's a great opportunity for us. As a tribute to what you have done, I request all of us can actually sing the national anthem together, and then we can close this session. So